Verse 21, and the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. Right? So we're going to go into that darkness which may be felt because, like I say, if you watch like the 10 plagues or the Prince of Egypt and all these movies, they'll depict the plague of darkness as if it was 3 days of nighttime. You can still kind of see what's going on. It's dark. And, yeah, that would suck, but no. When it says darkness that may be felt, we're going to get into what that darkness that may be felt is, right? Right? Why might that darkness be felt? Right? What does it mean for darkness that may be felt? We're going to detail that. To go through for enslaving the children of Israel, the so-called Black Hispanic and Native American. What we've also got to consider is that these same kind of signs and wonders are going to come to this place too, right? Something, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be the 10 plagues like that. It's probably going to be mightier. In fact, it's definitely going to be mightier because iniquity has reached up to heaven, right? Meaning the Most High has seen it and it's stacked all the way up, right? He sees it anyway, but basically saying like, look, your iniquity has reached to heaven. You've got the message. You're evil. So it's probably going to be a lot worse, right? I was going to grab a scripture. Yeah, Jeremiah chapter 23. Book of Jeremiah chapter 23 verse 7. Therefore behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. So it's going to come a time where right now we talk about the Exodus, right, the plagues of Egypt, we talk about these things now. It's going to come a time where something so great comes to this wicked society and wicked kingdom, and we don't even talk about Exodus anymore, right? That's nothing. There's nothing pales in comparison. Now we're going to be saying, hey, the Lord liveth, which brought us out of the whole world, saved us out of every nation, right, from these wicked devils. That's what we're going to be saying. That's how mighty and great it's going to be. You're going to forget about Egypt, forget about Exodus. That's nothing. There's going to be so much worse what comes to this place. So when we detail this darkness, and I want you to picture what the Egyptians were going through, the fear that should fill your heart if you imagine being in this situation, imagine that, but 10 times worse, 100 times worse. Whatever this kingdom's going to get, so much worse, right? Imagine that, but worse. So let me get back to Exodus chapter 10, verse 22. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness. So when it says a thick darkness, it's like a wall of darkness. It's not like I say in these movies where it depicts it as like 3 days of night time. No, it's like a wall of darkness. It's like dark. It's like a wall right in front of your face. It's dark. You can't see nothing. That's what this thick darkness was. Darkness that maybe felt, right? Because they were scared to death. 3 days of nothing? 3 days as if you can't see? It's just black. That's it? Yeah. You don't want to go through that. That's why you need to come out of it, my people. It's going to be worse for this place, right? It says, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. So it's saying they saw not one another. I mean, it's like, it was literally dark. They could not see. It wasn't like a midnight, and you kind of, light a lamp and walk around with a lamp, and you kind of see, just barely see. No, it was a thick darkness, like a wall. They couldn't see each other. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. They could see. So that just shows you that it's not like the sun went away and it was dark. No, the sun was still doing its thing. Everything was normal. It's just the Egyptians were blind. They couldn't see for 3 days. Right? That's what it was. It wasn't like nighttime for 3 days. No, the sun was still coming up and going down. It even tells you in the chapter we're going to get into that basically the rest of the world was unaware. It was just a normal 3 days. It was just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? But for the Egyptians, it was hell. It was absolute hell. 3 days, and it's all the same. The sun's still coming up, going down. The cycles are the same. The sea, it's all the same. You can't see. Yeah, that's what they were going through. It wasn't just nighttime for 3 days. No, they couldn't see. They were blind. They had blackness over their eyes. They could not see anything but pitch black. Right? That's why it's darkness that made me felt, and a thick wall of darkness. Right? So let's get to Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon. The mighty book of Wisdom of Solomon. Let's start from the top. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17. For great are thy judgments and cannot be expressed. Therefore, unnurtured souls have erred. For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation, they being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, and fettered with the bonds of a long night, lay there exiled from the eternal providence. Right, so these unrighteous men that thought to oppress the holy nation is talking about the Egyptians. That's in the time of Egypt. Right? They had the children of Israel in slavery, right? But they were, when it says a long night, it doesn't just mean a really long night. It means like it was like dark for a long time. They were dealing with serious darkness, right? A long night. It said, this one's bugging out. From here, bro, across the road. It says, they being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, right? So they were prisoners of darkness. When you're a prisoner, you're locked in, you can't escape. They were prisoners of darkness, shut up in their own house, right? They couldn't leave the house, there was no point. If you could find the front door, what was the point of leaving? You're going to be outside in the elements without sight. You'd rather be in your house. You feel a bit more safe in your house, right? It says, for while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions. So while they thought to lay hid in their secret sins, right, thinking that they could get away with it, thinking, because bear in mind, I think it's, let me see. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is they thought to lay hid in their secret sins. As in, they thought they could get away. They thought that the Most High wasn't doing it. They didn't even. Pharaoh was basically like, who is he? I'm Pharaoh. Bear in mind, Egypt was the most powerful, mightiest king. It was the superpower of the world at that time, right? So Pharaoh, being the king of all that, he was like, yo, who is Yahweh? Who is Yahweh? That's what he was saying, basically. And he's going to find out who Yahweh is. Yahweh Bahasham HaMashiach Yahweh Shai. But he's basically, Pharaoh was basically like, hey, who is the Most High? He's like, hey, this is my kingdom, it's my people, I'm ruling over these people, I'm oppressing these people. He wasn't ready to let them go, right? He was prideful. They were thinking they could hide in their secret sins. They were thinking they could get away with it, right? Thinking they could get away with oppressing the holy nation, right? So let's get back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17. For while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished. If you're horribly astonished, it means like you're shocked to the core, right? Your heart is failing, you're scared, like you're so scared to death you feel sick, right? They are horribly astonished. Why? It says, and troubled with strange apparitions, right? So the way you've got to imagine, like I said, if you imagine it's midnight, you've got blackout curtains, blackout blinds, your room is pitch black darkness, but you take it a step further, put a sleeping mask on, and close your eyes and shut them as tight as you can. Imagine what you would see. It would be like a thick wall of darkness. You can't see anything at all, right? So if you imagine this, being in this position, right? Not being able to see nothing but just nothing but darkness, nothing but blackness. And then you start seeing strange apparitions. Because think about it, right? You can learn this up too. If you're in darkness for too long, basically what happens is you'll start to hallucinate. So that's what was happening to these Egyptians. They were starting to hallucinate and see things that weren't there. So they're prisoners to this darkness, and then they start to hallucinate, seeing strange apparitions, right? Seeing things that they can only describe as spirits or ghosts, and they're just scared, like, what the hell did I just see? You can't see anything, but you just saw something move. You'd be like, you would be astonished and shocked to your core, like they was. Right? So they were hallucinating, right? It says that they were troubled with strange apparitions. They were seeing things that weren't there, right? If it goes on to detail, how they were so scared of nothing. They were so scared of nothing. There was nothing there, nothing going on, right? But we're going to get further into this. Verse 4. For neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear. Right, so they were shuffled all the way into the corner, backed into the corner, and that couldn't even make them feel safe. That couldn't even save them from fear, right? It says, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenances. So they were seeing spirits with horrified, distraught faces, right? Sad, heavy countenances. They were seeing these apparitions, these hallucinations of these horrified faces. And that's basically like a manifestation or a depiction of what they're to be counted as, right? Pathetic, right? Pathetic and distraught. They're going to be distraught because what happened next? What was the 10th plague? The firstborn of every firstborn, whether it was man or beast, died. Right? They were in mourning. They were in torment. They were distraught. Right? So that's what they were seeing. They were seeing this representation of their own like their own sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Their own case, the case that they're going to be in. They were seeing like a manifestation or a depiction of what it could be represented as, right? It says they had noises as of water, so they would hear like water falling down, like running water, like waterfalls, like just a great sound of water running down. Bear in mind, hey, nothing's happening. They're hallucinating. All it is a dude sat in a room, terrified of nothing. He can't see anything. It's just him alone in the room, or maybe he's got his woman with him or his children. But it's just them in the room, seeing and hearing things that aren't there, looking terrible. Imagine being a fly on the wall and seeing it. There's these men cowered into corners, grown men, these Nubians, right? These Dinka, these Sudanese, cowered into corners, terrified of nothing. There's nothing there. There's nothing going on. What they're seeing isn't real. What they're hearing isn't real. It's just a silent room with them shook in a corner, terrified of nothing. That's what the Most High did to these Egyptians for 3 days. 3 days he put them through them for oppressing the holy nation. So what do you think is coming to this wicked society and this wicked kingdom? Hey, this kingdom's going to get it bad, I can't lie. That's why it says, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins. Right? So you don't do the wickedness that she does, and you receive not of her plagues. As in, you don't get these plagues. You don't get whatever's coming to this place. It's going to be worse than what the Egyptians were dealing with. Like you said, when you read about darkness, or you watch these movies, you might just, you can be forgiven in mistaking that for just like 3 days of nighttime. Right? That's not what it was. It was a lot worse than that. The Egyptians were being tormented. Bear in mind, all throughout this is plague number 9. We've been through the blood, the frogs, the lice, the flies. So there's maggots everywhere, there's frogs everywhere, there's flies everywhere, there's lice everywhere, you're itching, the blood stinks, the frogs stink, the maggots stink, the flies are annoying, all your food is getting rotten by maggots and flies, right? The lice, your animals, right? You haven't drank for days because all the water is blood. You can't eat your animals because they're all sick, right? You're going through hell, you're catching hell, and now you've got 3 days of darkness, 3 days of seeing nothing but blackness, completely blind, you couldn't even see your own hand right in front of your face. These Egyptians were catching hell. So what do you think this place is going to be dealing with? When it says that receive not of her plagues, she's going to get plagues. She's going to get so much plagues.
I saw in London at the Remembrance Day for my dad.
Right, she's going to get all these plagues, right? And it's going to be worse. It's worse than Egypt. Bear in mind, this kingdom is basically like an amalgamation of Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia and Medes, Greeks, Romans. This kingdom is all those rolled into one. Excuse me, do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe in God? Do you know you're an Israelite according to the Bible? You're an Israelite. So, yeah, this kingdom is all those kingdoms rolled into one. And all those kingdoms got horrible judgments, right? But imagine what's coming to this place. Especially America, especially the United States, right? Imagine what's coming. You don't want to be caught up in that. You don't want to be caught up in that. I'm just being real with you. You don't want to be caught up in America's judgment, or this kingdom's judgment. You don't want that. You don't want smoke with the Most High. You don't want smoke with the Most High, right? But anyway, getting back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, verse 5. no power of the fire might give them light, neither could the bright flames of the stars endure to lighten that horrible night. Right? So when it says night, once again, it's not a single night, it's 3 days of this. That's when it's saying that horrible night, the horrors that they're going through by night time, but also the pitch blackness that they were seeing. You could light a fire, right? You could literally scramble around the house, find the damn match or the flint and steel, whatever they were using, matches. You can find the damn flint and steel or whatever you was using to make fires back in those days. You can spark it onto this pile of wood that you've gathered. You can literally hear the flame. You know when the flame's like, you hear the flame go up, you feel the warmth, you hear the flickering, the crackling of the wood, you hear all this stuff going on. You can hear it. The fire's right there in front of you. There's a fire right there in front of you. You can feel the warmth coming off the flame, you can hear it crackling. You can't see anything. There's no light. You can't even see the fire. It's giving you no light. You see nothing, but there's a fire in front of you. Imagine. You see the blackness, right? Nothing but darkness, you're in panic mode. You manage to scramble and get all your stuff together. You're like, let's get some light, let's get some fire. You spark the flame, you hear the fire in flame, and you see nothing. Nothing. You see absolutely nothing. Hey, you know the stars are in heaven, right? Bear in mind, back in those days, we didn't have serious light pollution like now. So you see the stars in heaven, they would have lit up the night a little bit, right? Lights to rule over the night. You got the moon, that would have given light. And you would have, even in midnight, darkness, there would have still been like a bit of visibility, right? Even like there is still today, but there would have been a bit of visibility, probably a bit more than today. Because, there's no light pollution back then, or not to this degree. So, of this magnitude. So you're thinking, hey, I know the stars can light up the night. You're looking up, you see no stars. You see nothing. Blackness. Wherever you look, it's blackness, darkness, nothing. And that's what you had to deal with. That's what the Egyptians had to deal with for 3 days. 72 hours. Right? 72 hours the Egyptians had to go through that. Okay? This is what they got for trying to oppress the holy nation. Right? It says, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17 verse 5, no power of the fire might give them light, neither could the bright flames of the stars endure to lighten that horrible night. Only there appeared unto them a fire kindled of itself, very dreadful, for being much terrified, they thought the things which they saw to be worse than the sight they saw not. Right? So they thought that these hallucinations, these apparitions they were seeing, they thought that to be worse than what they saw not. They didn't, there's nothing there. They, alone in the room, hallucinating, they thought it to be worse than what they didn't see. They didn't see nothing. There was nothing actually there. But they thought what they saw to be worse than what they saw not. Right? They thought there's nothing there, but they thought it to be worse. They thought it to be a bad thing. They thought that they were they were in serious trouble. But they thought that the things that they were seeing were actually real and dangerous. And they thought it to be worse than the thing they saw not. The thing they saw not is nothing. There's nothing there. They are not seeing the fact that there is nothing there. So they're thinking that it's worse than it actually is. They're thinking that what's going on is worse than it actually is because they don't see what's actually there. What's actually there is nothing. Just them in the room, right? But the things that they're seeing, they're terrified of. They're hallucinating. They're terrified of it, right? It says, as for the illusions of art magic, they were put down. As in they were put down, they were stopped. They were put to shame. The art magic that the Egyptians, they were known for their magic, right? Pharaoh had magicians. We read about that. Pharaoh had magicians. But the art magic was put down, as in it was stopped and put to shame, right? It says, as for the illusions of art magic, they were put down, and their vaunting in wisdom was reproved with disgrace. So they were reproved that their wisdom, what they thought so-called wisdom, is actually disgraceful. Because guess what? We're trying to, my brother, Officer Aharon was going over this. He was like, imagine you're getting all the damn herbs together, all the damn, the lavender, you've got the damn, however you make potions or whatever they do, you're getting all the stuff together, trying to rub it in your eyes to get your sight back, and nothing happens. Your magic is proved not wisdom, it's just disgraceful. The Most High made you look like an idiot. Made you look like a sausage, right? Because you're there trying to fix your eyesight with magic, right? And nothing happens. You're going to look like a donut. You know, like an absolute gun doing something like that. And that's what the Most High put these Egyptians through for oppressing the holy nation. 3 days of nothing, you can't see anything, you're hallucinating, hearing sounds that aren't there. Now, what the hell was that? Seeing damn spirits that you think are really there, they're not, you're just hallucinating. 3 days of darkness, and then you try and use your magic to fix it and nothing happens. Hey, this magic was working before. The Most High is the one in control, so this wisdom that you think you have is actually just disgraceful, right? It says, verse 8, for they that promised to drive away terrors and troubles from a sick soul were sick themselves of fear, worthy to be laughed at. So these people who aforetime would use their magic to heal the Egyptians of any trouble that they were going through, they were sick themselves, right? So it's not like they were trying to fix other people from the darkness that they were seeing. Now they had it too. They couldn't see either, and their magic was not fixing them. So that's why I said they were worthy to be laughed at. Because they're going through all the trouble of making the little potions or casting the little spells, doing the little thing, you know what I mean? They're going through all the trouble, and nothing happens. They're going through all this, and nothing happens. Right? Worthy to be laughed at, worthy to be mocked. Like, oh, you thought you was going to fix this? Nah, that's not how it's going to go, big man. You thought you was going to get your sight back. You thought that was going to work. No, now you're looking like a damn so. Looking so stupid, man. You're looking like a donut. You thought it was going to work and it didn't. Anyway, getting back to verse 9. For though no terrible thing did fear them, yet being scared with beasts that passed by and hissing of serpents. So he's saying, even though there was nothing there causing them to fear, there was nothing actually there, they were just alone in the room, and they were hearing hissing serpents, they were hearing the hiss of a snake, you know. There's a snake somewhere, you know what I mean? They were in the room, terrified, they couldn't see to defend themselves against the snake that they were hearing. All the while, there was no snake there. There was nothing there. They were scared of nothing. They were hallucinating, right? Most High tricked them. And they were scared of nothing. They were hearing snakes hissing. There was no snakes there, right? Or it said, what is this? Verse 9. Yet being scared with beasts that pass by. So they might hear a lion roar as it walks past, or you know, like down. I don't know if they have wolves in Egypt. I don't know what hyena, or some kind of lion. They'd hear these horrible beasts passing by, right? They'd hear the footsteps, they'd hear the roar, the hissing of the serpent, and they were terrified. All the while, there was nothing there. It was all in their heads, they were hallucinating, and they were scared of nothing, right? It says they died for fear, denying that they saw the air, which could of no side be avoided. So they couldn't avoid the things that were happening. So they died for fear. A lot of them were having heart attacks, hearts were stopping, right? All because they wouldn't let the children of Israel go, right? All because they wouldn't let the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans out of captivity. They were going through this horror, right? It says, for wickedness condemned by her own witness is very timorous, and being pressed with conscience always forecasteth grievous things. So the fact that they're conscious of their wickedness, they know they've done wrong, is going to forecast grievous things. Because now they know that they're getting their judgment, and the Most High is dealing with them now, finally getting up with them and getting his get back. So they, knowing that they've done wickedness, they're conscious of their wickedness, right? They're going to imagine grievous things. That's why they're imagining, he's sending snakes after us. He's sending lions after us. Damn, what was all that water? Are we being flooded again? All the while, it was nothing. Nothing was going on. Right? The Most High was making these people look dumb. He said, for fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors which reason offereth. What's this saying? It's saying fear is literally just when you don't have any more reasoning, right? Because a lot of times we call it irrational fear, right? There's a rational fear. If you're before the face of a lion, yeah, fair enough, you can be in fear, right? If you're before the face of a damn serpent, yeah, you could be in fear, right? If you have the sword coming towards you, yeah, you could be in fear. If your house is on fire and you're trapped, yeah, you can be in fear. That's a rational fear. There's such thing as an irrational fear, which is when you're scared for no reason, right? All reasoning, no soundness has left your mind, and you're thinking of the worst possibilities, right? My dad was talking to me about it yesterday. He called it cognitive apparition. when you imagine the worst things, the worst outcomes, the worst scenarios, because all reasoning and soundness has left you. That's what they were going through. All reasoning had left the Egyptians, and now they were thinking the worst, because they were conscious of their wickedness. They knew the wrong that they did. They knew the oppression that they put the children of Israel through. So now that they're getting some kind of judgment and some kind of get back for it, they're imagining the worst things. All the while, nothing was happening. They were just in the room hallucinating like they was on drugs. That's what was going on. There was nothing. There was no serpents, no lions. They were imagining these things. Because the Most High put it on their spirit to imagine these things. Right? It says, and the expectation from within, being less, counteth the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment. Right? So it said, the expectation from within. So the thing that they're expecting, you know, a serpent to pull upon them, a lion to devour them. The thing that they're expecting, it says, counteth the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment. Meaning the things that they don't know is worse than what's actually going on. Right? The torment, they're being tormented by nothing. They don't know that nothing's going on. The ignorance is even worse than the torment. Right? It says, but they, sleeping the same sleep that night, which was indeed intolerable, right? So imagine you're trying to sleep through this. The few hours of sleep that you get, you manage to get some. Maybe you get an hour or two, maybe you get 20 minutes, maybe you get a full night. And you're expecting to open your eyes in the morning and it's all good, you can see again. And you do that, you get through the night, you wake up, and you think, okay, do the dumb thing. You open up your eyes, and it's still nothing. Still nothing. That's why it says that the sleep was intolerable, right? And which came upon them out of the bottoms of inevitable hell, were partly vexed with monstrous apparitions, and partly fainted, their hearts failing them for a sudden fear and not looked for came upon them. So something they were never expecting to happen, something they never looked for, this sudden fear, their hearts were failing them. Because they were seeing monstrous apparitions. They were hallucinating in this darkness, seeing things that weren't there. Terrifying sights, right? And they never expected this to come. So their hearts were failing them for sudden fear. They were having heart attacks, hearts were stopping, going into cardiac arrest. They were dying for fear of what, and like I say, all the while, they're hallucinating. They're in a room and it's just them. Nothing is happening. But this is the judgment they get. This is what they get for oppressing the holy nation, when they thought they could get away with that and hiding their secret sins. It says, so then, whosoever there fell down was straitly kept, shut up in a prison without iron bars. What does this mean? It means they were mentally trapped, right? They were mentally trapped. You know, same thing, like I said, what Officer Aharon over at SOJ Tulsa said. It's like people who are actually in prison, they feel more free than someone who's mentally trapped. If you're in prison, you can feel more free than ever, right? But if you're mentally trapped, you can feel, there's no escape. You are mentally, you're not in prison, you're not shut up, you're not kept behind any iron bars, but mentally you're trapped. That's a scary thing to deal with, man. And that's what the Most High was putting on these ancient Egyptians, these Dinka, Nubians, South Sudanese, these people. That's what they were going through for oppressing the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, the children of Israel. That's what they were going through. They were going through hell. Bear in mind, like I say, this is plague number 9. We already had the water turn to blood. You got the frogs, you got the lice, so you're itching. You got the flies with all the maggots. Blood tends to stink. So the whole land of Egypt stinks. Everyone's scratching and itching for the lice. There's maggots everywhere, flies everywhere. And now you can't see for 3 days. And now you're picturing strange apparitions. You're hallucinating, hearing serpents that aren't there, hearing lions that aren't there, seeing spirits that aren't there. Imagining these things all the while, the room's empty and it's just you, just looking like a donut in the corner, scared of nothing. And they were going through hell. Meanwhile, the land of Egypt stunk, they were itchy, they hadn't drunk and ate for days. The Egyptians were catching hell. And like I say, this kingdom today is Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persians and Medes, Greece, Rome, all amalgamated into one. They have the characteristics of each kingdom. So imagine the plagues that's going to come to this place. If this is what the Egyptians were dealing with, catching hell for 3 days, imagine what this wicked society is going to go through when the Most High decides to crack open the sky. Imagine. It's going to be horror. So you want to come out, that's why it says, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and receive not of her plagues. You don't want to go through this. You don't want smoke with the Most High God, I promise you. Yahweh, Bahasham Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, is not playing games. He will deal with you. He will get up with you. If you're not keeping His commandments and the faith in Christ, you're finished, right? Finished. Anyway. Verse 17. For whether he were husbandman or shepherd or a laborer in the field, he was overtaken and endured that necessity which could not be avoided, for they were all bound with one chain of darkness. So it doesn't matter what job he did. He could be working in the field, he could be a laborer building houses, right? He could be a shepherd dealing with sheep. It doesn't matter. You could be a king. Even Pharaoh was going through this. Pharaoh was going through this, and the poorest peasant in Egypt was going through this. But do you know who wasn't? The Israelites. They weren't bound with this chain of darkness. The Egyptians were all bound with one chain of darkness. They were all guilty of this secret sin that they committed. All of them bound with the same chain of darkness. With a chain, you can link stuff together, right? You get one link and another link, and you can tie two people together, right? You don't even have to wrap it around them. You can just literally get like a yoke of iron, like we had to go through, and you can link people together. They were all connected to the same chain, right? They all had to go through the same thing. Okay, it says, whether it were a whistling wind or a melodious noise of birds among the spreading branches, or a pleasing fall of water running violently, or a terrible sound of stones cast down, or a running that could not be seen of skipping beasts, or a roaring voice of the most savage wild beasts, or a rebounding echo from the hollow mountains, these things made them to swoon for fear. Right, so they were hearing heavy rocks falling. They were hearing serpents hissing. They were hearing lions roaring, right? Seeing spirits. They were going through this and none of it was actually happening. It's because they were guilty in their own conscience. Right? So they were hearing lions roaring and skipping beasts. They were hearing beasts running, serpents hissing, water falling, stones falling, like big boulders falling down. You imagine like when they do excavation in a quarry and you hear the boulders fall down and it makes a great noise, a great bang, right? A great crash. That's what they were hearing, but nothing was going on. It was just them alone in the room hallucinating. It says, for the whole world shined with clear light. So this is what I was saying before. When you watch like the 10 Plagues or the Prince of Egypt or all these movies, they depict the plague of darkness as if it was just nighttime for 3 days. No, that's not the case. What was happening really was the Egyptians could not see. They could see nothing but blackness. Nothing but blackness. They couldn't even see their own face, hand in front of their face. And like we read earlier, they were lighting fires and seeing nothing. They feel the heat, they hear the crackling, right? But they don't see nothing. This is the thing. It wasn't just 3 days of nighttime like these movies depict. When we go into it, you see that the Egyptians were just blind with darkness. They could see nothing but blackness. But it said, let me read that again, verse 20, for the whole world shined with clear light, and none were hindered in their labor. So over in Mesopotamia, over in Europe, over in the rest of the land of Ham, which is Africa, all these places, you know, it was just a regular day. Just people going to work, doing their labor, the sun was coming up and going down, the moon cycle, the sun, all normal. Nothing was going on. It was just over in Mesopotamia, they had no idea what was going on in Egypt. Japheth up in Europe at this time, he didn't know what was going on in Egypt. The rest of the Hamites, they didn't know what was going on in Egypt. For them, it was just a regular day. Just the sun comes up, okay, time to go sow in the field or lead the sheep or whatever the hell they were doing. But in Egypt, these Egyptians were seeing nothing but darkness. Everyone else, it was a regular day, the sun came up, it went down. These 3 days were normal, there was nothing going on, but the Egyptians were blinded with darkness. And guess what? The Israelites who were in the land of Egypt, we had light in our dwelling, because what? There was no like nighttime, it wasn't darkness like the sun was taken away. No, we just weren't blinded like they were. That's what was going on. That's what this is dealing with, right? That's why it said darkness that may be felt. The darkness may be felt because they were feeling this fear. The fear, they said, what did he say? He said astonished. He had a certain adjective to it too. He said, being horribly astonished. That's in verse 3. So this darkness that maybe felt is because they were horribly astonished, meaning they were shocked to the core. Their heart was failing them. They were so scared they felt sick, right? That's why it's darkness that maybe felt. They could feel this darkness because it was their own conscience condemning them, right? And it says, let me go back to Exodus chapter 10. It's a little more. That's why I said a thick darkness, because it was just like a wall of blackness in front of them. How far are we in? Must be like an hour. An hour and 4. We've got an hour to go. So it was nothing but just straight blackness in front of them. That's all they were dealing with for 3 days. These Egyptians. And that's what they had to go through for their oppression of the holy nation. Right? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, verse 21. Over them only was spread in heavy night an image of that darkness which should afterwards receive them, but yet were they unto themselves more grievous than the darkness. Right? Let's break this down. It says, over them only was spread in heavy night. So only they were going through this. Everyone else had life. It was a regular day for them. The sun came up, they went to work, they went home, the sun went down. 3 days, nothing changed, just normal. But the Egyptians, only over them was spread this darkness, right? It says, an image of that darkness which would afterwards receive them. What's that? The killing of the firstborns. The Red Sea crashing on them. And also, the ultimate condemnation that's coming to them, all of them, for their wickedness. Right? That's the darkness that's going to receive them. But yet were they unto themselves more grievous than the darkness. So basically what it's saying is the darkness wasn't that bad, it was just darkness. At the end of the day, yeah, it's going to be horrible to go through, but ultimately it was nothing but darkness. There was nothing going on, there was no serpents, no lions, no water falling, no spirits. It was just they couldn't see for 3 days. That's all it was. That's as deep as it goes. They just couldn't see for 3 days. That's all. Like I said, imagine being a fly on the wall in this situation. Seeing these Egyptians in the corner of the room, scared for their life of things that aren't there. Nothing's going on. From our perspective, looking at this, it's just a dude in a room cowering in fear for nothing. For no reason at all. He's just there, he's scared, and nothing's going on. But to them, the darkness is not that grievous. It's just darkness. That's all it is. All it was, they just couldn't see for 3 days. Really, ultimately, obviously, they didn't know how. They didn't know. All they really had to do was endure 3 days. And yeah, obviously, they were going to get their judgment. But as far as the darkness goes and being grieved by that, all they had to do was endure for 3 days. That was it. Yeah, it's a long time of being in darkness. I'm not going to say that's not easy. But basically, the point I'm making is, all they really had to do was just endure 3 days, and that's it. Obviously, there is judgment afterwards, but as far as the darkness goes, the darkness is not that bad. You just can't see for 3 days, that's all it is. But they were more grievous to themselves, because their minds were playing tricks on them. They were grieving themselves by, like I said, with reasoning, with irrational fear. When all reasoning goes out the window, feelings of rational fear, scared of nothing, scared of no reason. That's what's going on. Sister with the leopard bag and the headphones. She put out a cigarette, but she can't hear me. That's sad. If you smoke anything, okay, cigarettes, weed, crack, anything, you're an idiot. You're stupid if you smoke anything. Vape. This person over here vaping, my dad calls them douche flips. Playing your little douche flip. Right? It's like an idiot. Right? Vape's not even water vapor, man. It's aerosols. Heavy metals. Right? Aerosols, that's what it is. That's what vape is. It's not water vapor like people think. If you smoke anything, cigarettes, vape, even split, just an idiot, bro. It's not like it. That's sister going off with the devil again, man. Sister going off with the devil. All over Leeds, I see that. It's never the other way around. In fact, no, actually, it is too fair. It is too fair. Esau's kicking around, man. We might get into next, because I'm nearly done with playing here. I do want to go into more judgment for Esau. We might just touch quickly on Job chapter 30 again. Maybe start chapter 29, show the prosperity of Job. And then show the perfect example of Esau over there doing what Esau does, man. He's in his natural state. I said this at camp a while ago. You see homeless Edomites, they just look comfy. They look like they're just chilling. This is their natural state to just be out in the wilderness and just be in his base, drinking in the street and shit. Ashamed of himself, man. But anyway, Solomon and wickedness. So we're done there. Definitely finished Wisdom of Solomon. Go back to Exodus 10 and read that again. Then might go to